Welcome to the Attic Phrogs podcast. What's up, Silas?
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, dude. We're getting together for the second time in a week, which is good. We're starting to make some episodes.
Making some headway here.
Yeah, because we got to release this. We keep doing these episodes, so when you make a podcast, you have to make like at least a few episodes, they say.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of recordings behind the scenes here, which, we'll dig into and pull out some fun stuff from.
Yeah, there's some good clips in all of them, but they're not all professional quality, and we've come a long way with the setup here.
I think we can safely say that at this point, people are probably going to see this in the near future, which is cool.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We put a lot of heart and soul into it, and it kind of just came out of the blue. So I'm having fun with it. But what we're going to do is just talk about things for people that are new to the podcast. So we'll go over a whole range of topics from paranormal, UFOs, politics, relationships, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of leave it open-ended.
Yeah, it usually ends up flowing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, what is going on in the news? What have you seen? Anything good?
Yeah.
Did you see about Greenland?
Yeah, have I heard about Greenland? Yeah, I don't think anybody hasn't heard about Greenland.
What is going to happen there? Do you think we're going to invade Greenland?
So, honestly, coming from like a little bit more of like, to the left-hand side of politics, like me, I mean, I'm pretty much in the center, but these days, but
I try to be too, but the best I can.
I think
we're going to laugh at home. Sorry when I say that. Go ahead though.
No, I think we actually probably are going. Something's going to happen there. I mean, look what we just, how we just handled Venezuela. I mean, it was pretty definitive, pretty, precise, and So I feel like I think people need to start listening to what Trump is saying more.
Dude, I'll tell you this. Like, I understand where he's coming from. So he says that China and Russia, we can't have them as our neighbors.
Right.
Understood. Like, this is a scary world we're living in as far as technology, weaponry. However, when people are scared about Trump being a dictator, this kind of shit doesn't help. To say, he's like, well, we're going to make a move on Greenland. We're going to do something in Greenland, whether they like it or not, quite frankly. We're talking about all options very strongly. And that doesn't help.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, you think about it, like just the simplicity of like just taking over Greenland is kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're a sovereign nation.
Well, they're owned by Denmark.
So they're a satellite to Denmark, right?
Yeah. So the king of Denmark apparently holds title to Greenland.
Yeah.
And there was some royal agreement made where King Charles III, or whoever is the British monarch, gets first refusal to Greenland. So he's got to be like, I wonder what he's going to do.
I haven't heard much feedback from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Which I guess I should dig into that.
They don't talk about it much, but it was in the
news.
news.
We're just not hearing it here.
Right. Well, King Charles, for people who don't know, or whoever the current British monarch is, they hold title to royal land, which amounts to 6.6 billion acres. That is a ton of land. Do the math on that.
Is that the size? Is that the size of Greenland, or?
Well, it's actually 1/6 of Earth's total land mass.
Oh.
So it's by far the largest private landowners. Now, it's not all technically their land, but there's a lot of unclaimed land that becomes royal land. So they do own it, and whatever's underneath it, like minerals, oil, whatever.
Yeah.
So the second portfolio holder. So there's a first place, which is the British monarch. Of course, there's got to be a second place. That happens to be the Catholic Church and the Vatican.
Yeah.
They have like 297 million acres.
This is like current land ownership.
This is current land ownership,
like worldwide.
You can check my numbers, but as far as I remember, the Catholic Church is second place with under 300 million acres, but King Charles has 6.6 billion.
Wow.
Do the math on that and tell me he's not the richest man in the world, technically.
Right.
So,
well, land is, especially these days, it's definitely becoming clear that it's the most valuable thing. It's one of the most valuable.
And what's under the land, because there's, that's where the real money is. If you've got some land out in Podunk, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
But if you got an oil well, now you got a piece of land.
Yeah.
And trust me when I say it, and it's ridiculous. Like King Charles had like 43% of Canada, of the total land mass of Canada. That may be a little bit of a off number, but it's something like that.
Okay.
He also owns like 28%, I believe, of Australia.
Really?
So these are royal lands, and there's a Commonwealth of Nations that he controls. That's like 142 countries or so.
Yeah.
Where he is king still. So he actually came over and visited Trump and tried to bring him into the Commonwealth of Nations underneath him, which Trump laughed off, obviously. But King Charles is really a hidden hand power structure in the world. So
you're saying that royalty, kingdomship, is still has a lot of power to it.
Absolutely. People think that the royalty owned everything, had total power, and believe me, they slaughtered a lot of people to retain that power.
Right.
That they just gave it up and said, oh, you know what? We're vestigial now. We're going to take a back seat. We won't have any power. Here's a couple of people you can vote for, and you can pick which one you want to run it, and they'll do whatever you say. Well, obviously that's not the case. So these are just front men that the royalty put out in front of you. Now they're always usually royal bloodline. Mm-hmm. They've done the DNA on that. So they're usually connected into the royal family.
Right.
So point being that they're a hidden hand structure of power.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think so, or do you think that's crazy? Because most people get mad when I say that, and they're like, they don't have any power.
No, I mean, no, I think they do. They definitely do. Yeah. I mean, especially if you just simply own that much land, it's clear that you have power, because it's a big deal, and especially as more and more land gets purchased and becomes private property and becomes developed, right? Because we're still developing the world.
There's less available.
We may want to slow down a little bit, but that's what we're doing, and.
Right.
But no, I believe that. And so that goes back to Denmark, and right we were talking about, and
Trump seemed like he was just going to take it from Denmark.
I know, but do you think that we're going to do it like a military operation?
I'm not sure what he'll do.
I don't think we're going to spill blood on this.
This is totalitarian type behavior. When people accuse Trump of being an authoritarian, however, depending on, I think that he's making a move to establish us as the biggest superpower once again. Now, there's going to be a contentious battle here. China and Russia and all these other countries and Europe are not going to just take this laying down. And I'm sure they're talking it over pretty.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we're definitely making moves now to just kind of establish ourselves in the power dynamic in the world.
Oh yeah.
Right up against. I mean, right now I feel like it's the U.S., China, and Russia. I mean,
right. Yeah, who else is there? Well, Europe. I mean,
there are other very powerful and also very amazing places, but there's a lot to talk about.
Right.
But I think with that move that we did with Venezuela, we just took a giant power or a lot of power away from China, because they were so invested in Venezuela, and I think that was the actual motivator.
They were there
for our move, and I think everyone's talking about this now. This is not new news.
Did you know that 6 hours before we went in and took Maduro and his wife, the Chinese sent some of their top diplomats? Did you see that?
Yeah, well, they were heavily invested in Venezuela, and I think that they were the number one oil purchaser as well.
I'm sure that's true.
So, and they had built all sorts of infrastructure in terms of oil production.
Oh yeah,
right.
Russians too.
China gave Venezuela a whole bunch of loans.
Oh, yes,
right?
they did.
That they knew they weren't going to pay back.
Yeah.
Right. But it allowed them to come in and build all this infrastructure.
Yeah, that's
and have a very heavy hand in the government there.
Totally. Yeah.
Right? So
a lot of control. It's kind of like what they do everywhere.
Yeah.
However, Trump seems to be really pushing for that American sovereignty and establishing. Now, whether that turns out to be a good thing or whether it unleashes holy hell, we will find out, because World War III is always a threat, but nobody wants mutually assured destruction, or MAD as they call it. Where if a certain number of nuclear weapons get launched, they're going to launch theirs, and that's the end of the story.
Well, that brings us back to Denmark. And the whole reason why he's going after it. It's a strategic move.
It's a bold move.
I feel like we're kind of preaching to the choir because, well, maybe not. I mean, it depends on who's listening.
So depending on the day, I'll either be really behind it, like, yes, this is going to be good for America. It's going to secure our country's power for my children and my grandchildren. The other side of me says this is going to be a disaster. So I really don't know it could go either way, but the power that we're showing, unfortunately, is being wielded in kind of like a really bull in a china shop way, because Trump, for all of his benefits that I like, he's got a real bull in the china shop type persona.
Yeah.
So it goes off like a fart in church. Nothing he does is ever going to go over well, simply because of his personality.
He's crass.
Very crass, very New York, old school, and he doesn't hold back. He's also very authentic. No, he's honest. People accuse him of lying, but really what he does is he embellishes a lot.
Well, I think he has to cover his tracks every once in a while.
He's a salesman too.
Yeah. Right. He gets himself into some situations where, he might have to weasel his way out, which AKA lying, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't seem to be bothered by it. He's got I don't know how he takes these slings and arrows. He's got half the country sending hate bombs to him, just like mentally.
Yeah.
Psychic hate is focused on him by millions of people.
Right. Yeah.
And he takes it in stride.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we do, if however it happens, and if it happens, which I feel like it's heading in that direction, Denmark, and the U.S., making it the 51st state.
Yeah.
Right.
That's happening.
But if it does happen, I mean, wouldn't you say that that's kind of the end of NATO?
I think NATO is kind of a defunct organization anyway, because all of this comes down to, I think Trump knows that Europe is the center of power because they really do call a lot of the shots, and they seem to be like, who ran Epstein? They always go back to Israel, but I see Israel as part of, like, it's the House of Rothschild, which is a Germanic royal house, just like the Windsors, who are in England. They're a Germanic royal house. Did you know that?
No, I don't know much about this. But
well, let me tell you, the Windsors is not their name. They were from the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha out of Germany. Yeah. And back in the day, I can't remember if it was King George III. I really don't remember which one. One of them came over and didn't even speak English. He had to be taught English because he spoke German. And they came from Germany and took over the British throne, which is really interesting. Like, why would they come from Germany?
Yeah. I don't know. Good question.
A lot of things come out of Germany, don't they?
A lot of things have come out of Germany.
Yeah. So
we've dealt a lot of, there's been a lot of dealings with Germany.
I could get into some deep territory with Nazis and the royalty, but maybe we'll save that for another episode.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But I think, on the top layer, surface level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if we go into Denmark in a military fashion, where, I suppose that would include spilling some blood, which I don't see that happening.
I don't think they're going to fight back against the United States, but other countries.
It's a lot different. It's a lot different invading Denmark than it is invading in Venezuela. And I hate to say that.
In what way? How do you see the big difference?
Well, because there's the only reason that we're going in, we don't have reasons to go into Denmark other than for our benefit.
Right.
Which, okay, fine. You can say we did that in Venezuela too, but we had excuses.
It seems like there's a lot of people that are going to benefit
I'm
from
just
that
putting
too.
myself in a hole here.
No, you're making a lot of sense actually, because it's really hard to decide, but more or less I was wondering militarily, like we went in with these sonic weapons and this crazy stuff.
Yeah, I heard that after the fact, and that sounds insane.
Yeah. So Trump was like, when people brought up on the presses on the Air Force One, and they brought up, like, what are you going to do with Venezuela? Because the Denmark is launching a defense force. They've said we're going to shoot first and ask questions later. So that being the case, and Trump says they have like 2 sled dog teams. That's their defense. 2 sled dog teams. Mush, they're going to say. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Right.
I think he's being hyperbolic. It could be true.
Maybe we should fight them on their own terms.
Maybe we should have to fight them with sled dogs.
Yeah.
I love that.
We might lose in that case.
Dude, they better live stream that. You know what I mean? Like sled dog teams with bazookas.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Lay a bunch of landmines. That would be crazy. We don't want the dogs to get hurt, but we also don't want American soldiers or anybody to get hurt. I kind of like what we did in Venezuela because we didn't lose any soldiers. Now, it's unfortunate that Venezuelan soldiers had to be killed. That seems to be the name of the game when you sign up for the military. Yeah. You take that risk. That's why I'm glad I didn't. I don't think I would have been good in the military. I was more of an artist like you,
Yeah. Well, I mean, but at the same time, man, if I was told I had to join, I would.
Absolutely.
That's... Yeah, I would do it.
The fact of the matter is join the military
without a second question.
Definitely to protect your homeland and your family. However, to fight rich man's war for oil, that's a different story. That's more what I was getting to. Like, I don't think I would have done well with wars I couldn't believe in.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. It would. I said without a second question, but there would be a lot of second questions, especially, justifying it. Yeah. If I didn't believe in it, that would be a lot harder.
Well, like say there's a civil
when do you
war.
Believe in war? I guess Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully never, because we seem to be teetering around a civil war in this country. Did you see this? Now I watch a lot of videos where conservative people go into liberal protests and they'll try to interview them, and it just ends up triggering people, and they act out of pocket. They act crazy, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And then they get exposed and they get made fun of. So that's usually what happens, but they end up assaulting the conservative interviewers a lot.
Right.
And the cops will stand down and do nothing. So that's been frustrating for us to watch it. We're like, why doesn't but obviously you're in a crowd of people who want to kill you. That's not a great idea to start throwing punches.
Yeah. So I guess since our last episode, which we'll probably be putting out in tandem with this one, right, was prior to the incident in Minneapolis this past weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Yeah. So like, and I hear you jumping into talking about that kind of stuff, but I feel like addressing that is kind of important.
It's really important.
You know, and I don't want to sit here and necessarily pass judgment. Right. I have opinions.
It's a tragedy either way.
It's a tragedy either way.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like being able to look at all of the evidence is important.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Everybody should desire to know as much as possible before, because I've seen a lot of going back and forth. So
yeah,
tell me what you've seen online as far as where you're at.
So my process through it was, I think it, on the day it happened, anyways, when it happened, I was literally on my computer working.
Okay.
Right. And something popped up, and it was within an hour or two of the actual incident happening. Right. And so I got on X, right. And because X is a good tool to see, you know, uploaded videos that people were there in the actual moment.
Yeah. It's
and
uncensored.
you can get them very fast. Right.
Absolutely.
And they're uncensored then too, for sure. So the videos that I was watching kind of built an opinion to me that, wow, that didn't look like that was justified at all, right? From the videos that I saw in that moment, right?
The first ones,
yeah, and it really doesn't from certain camera angles.
That first angle they released.
And also without knowing the whole situation, you know, ahead of time and all that.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a tragedy and it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But there's so many pieces of it that contribute to the whole thing.
Interestingly, you brought up how the first video goes out. Everybody sees that, and you can't see the officer in front of the car. Okay. So everybody says this is murder. You couldn't even tell who shot her, really. Then they release another angle where you actually see the guys in front of the car. Now, Renee Good panicked is what happened. She absolutely did not intend to run that officer over. There's no way I would ever believe she was trying to do that. I think she was probably, now I don't know her personal life, and people keep saying this stuff about child abuse and putting out cigarettes from her wife. There's a lot of allegations. I haven't seen a single corroborating piece of evidence for that.
I mean, you get into
those mugshot, but that's
you get into those like you know those fringe things, or you know, details about their personal life, like
it's
who's going to really actually
it's irrelevant. It's like, so we can't mourn somebody just because they may have made mistakes in their life. Like, nobody's perfect, first of all, and people cast a lot of judgment. So all of that stuff, I kind of, even if it's true, it's irrelevant to the point. Now, she should not have been there, and I blame the Democrat politicians and the Democrat media for firing people up with this. We have to fight ICE. They're sending them out as foot soldiers to get themselves in harm's way to stop federal agents from doing deportations. This is insane.
Yeah.
That woman should have never been in that situation, and she was encouraged to do it. And
she was one of many in the situation.
Absolutely.
Right?
They're doing it all over.
There's protesters doing this all day long, and they have the right to do it.
Well, not when they're interfering in this way, though, where you're really getting in the way. Now you're causing a real safety issue. Now, some of these people they're deporting are pedophiles, some are criminals.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but I would say a good part of them. But there's some really serious criminals that they're out there protecting at times, which is weird. You know, like it should kind of be on a case by case basis. But they're so fired up they don't really care at this point.
Yeah, it's a tough thing for civilians to witness that. Like, I mean, I feel like, you know, I need to, you know, witness it myself to really understand, I guess. But
did you see the angle where it looked like she hit the guy?
I saw even the first video. I mean, I might have a better eye for those kinds of things. Like I was, you know, scanning and checking out the entire thing, even from one camera.
Could not make a snap judgment.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. And you know, I built my opinion from the first video. I felt like, you know, she wasn't trying to run him over necessarily.
No, I don't
but
think
that's not the only problem.
She was trying to run, though, and they told her to get out of the car. So right away, trying to flee federal agents who gave a lawful command, you're going to lose there. Yeah. So she was already in deep shit. It's really unfortunate how it turned out. Now, the guy, obviously, they say he was traumatized for getting run over before. I think that, you know, these guys are trigger happy. They're very defensive because they're under threat 24 hours a day. These people are hostile to them.
Yeah. Well, and also protesters, they don't look at these ICE agents the same way they look at police agents.
They don't look
police
at them as human.
Well, no, but they don't respect them in the same way. They don't have the you know, hesitation, the guard that they should have.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then you have the agents that aren't trained as well as police agents, I guess. And
seems like they've had a big hiring
it's
effort.
It's a really bad collision of you know, disrespect for each other.
it's a tough situation. The way Trump's doing it may be different than they've done it in years past, but he's trying to send a message for his constituents. But nonetheless, when it comes to Renee Good, the damn thing's a tragedy. And all the way around, I wish it didn't happen, but I really hope that it's not radicalizing people to violence, because I'm seeing a lot more videos of left-wing people with guns saying, bring guns and shoot ICE. They're like really trying to instigate violence.
Right.
Now, on the right, for a little comic relief, it's not really funny, but I saw this video of Zach X. So going back to the people that go into protest to interview, finally, some conservative guy got messed with a little too hard, and honestly, he was being assaulted. The guy was like hitting him with his bullhorn,
right?
Doing like, it's super high volume. He could make him go deaf and do hearing damage. I mean, and he wouldn't leave the guy away, or he wouldn't leave the guy alone,
right?
So the guy's name is Zach X, by the way.
Okay,
and he's starting to get known who he is, but he goes around to protest and makes little videos. He never really got too many followers.
Right.
This time, though, somebody filmed him fighting back, and he beat up like 6 guys. It was pretty crazy.
So it kind of reminds me of like I don't know, like the auditors, the First Amendment auditors, like where they're going in and they're like, I'm allowed to be here too.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys kind of have to listen to me.
Free speech and all, right? First Amendment. Yeah.
And he was getting harassed because he was there doing that, and
he was instigating, sure.
Well, but he was also like, they're not used to having somebody do that.
That's right.
Right. So it's kind of fits into that same grain where it's like, I'm allowed to be here, and you shouldn't be harassing me and assaulting me.
Well, they're already fired up. So these people get into a mob mentality right away. Once they have a protest, they get each other riled up. Now, mob mentalities are really interesting, and there's a term I throw around a lot to leftists when I'm arguing on Facebook, which is called mass formation psychosis. Have you heard of this?
I have, but I don't recall.
Well, basically what it is, and it came out around COVID, that Dr. Robert Malone, the inventor of mRNA technology, was going around trying to sound the alarm on the mass hysteria that was happening around COVID, where people were really just becoming irrationally afraid.
Right.
And he called it mass formation psychosis, and it is a thing where this groupthink takes over, and people's critical thinking and rationale falls off completely.
Yeah.
And they start acting in ways they wouldn't normally behave.
Right.
And now that's what I see happening a lot on the left. Do you see that as well? Or do you think that's happening on the right too?
I feel like there's more protests happening that are, a contingency of left wing or left of center people, I suppose. Like so it's easy to kind of, say that. I don't necessarily know that would be any different if it was a protest that was, right wing, because
you never see those.
Look at. Well, I know you do. I mean,
when have we seen a right wing protest? January 6th. I wouldn't call that right wing. I would call that a shit show. There was a lot of white supremacists. I guess they're right wing though. Yeah, that's fair.
I would say that they're
radical.
It's a larger collection of one political side. But anyways, I think we're all guilty of it.
Yeah, but, I think you're right. I think we're all subject to this mind control.
Yeah, no,
one way or another.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I think it definitely happens. It's you get this bizarre sense of power.
Yeah,
when unfortunately, okay, I'm gonna say unfortunately, but like ICE is coming in and doing their job that they're told to do.
Right.
And there's a lot of problems with it. It's just we're struggling to have it happen in a peaceful way. No, it's not happening in a peaceful way.
I'm curious. So if you look at the stats, Barack Obama was known as the deporter in chief. He got that nickname in the media.
Yeah.
He deported millions of people.
I know.
So 3 to 5 million. It was like 3.2 million in his first term. These could be off, but if you included the people they turned away at the border and sent back, it was like 5 million almost per term. So think of the numbers there. Trump has not deported nearly that many people, but maybe his tactics are just being scrutinized.
Well, I think a lot of he's definitely deterring a lot of people from trying to come in, right?
Well, isn't there a lot? Yeah, less? They self-deport now. There's like
there's a lot less people that want to come into the U.S.
Yeah, they know they can't get in.
Yeah, they're like we got a lot. We're going to encounter some hurdles.
Yeah. So like, do you remember during Trump's first term when they had those camps down at the border and everybody was so upset because they were separating children from their families? Now that's despite the fact that if you get a DUI in your car and your kids are in the car, they're going to separate you. They don't go to jail with you.
CNN was all over that one.
nonetheless, those were Barack Obama's camps, and Trump just used them at a higher rate. So I wonder what the difference was between Barack's tactics and Trump's. We should really look into that and see the juxtaposition.
Well, I mean, I think we're seeing Trump's tactics in ICE. I mean, with the way he's doing it is through brute force.
Gotcha.
He's decided that it's come to a point where it's necessary, in order to like make the difference that he wants. Because
send the message.
Because it's one thing to keep the people. Okay, it's one thing to deter people from coming in, right? Which I think he's definitely done a good job at, just from his rhetoric, and his his policies.
Yeah.
But he's trying to remove the people that are already here, which no one has really done that before.
Well,
right.
No, I think Barack Obama removed millions that were here. So the difference really is that he said he's going after criminals. So people are claiming that that's a lie. But a lot of the people do have, so they look for people with a criminal record of any kind and get them out. Now, I think the way he's doing it is being more scrutinized, but Barack Obama sent away millions. So he was doing it with brute force. These were armed agents, all the same. It's really interesting, right?
So then why what's the difference?
Because the media has painted them as the Gestapo, and at the same time, Trump is trying to fire up his base by putting on a show that he's getting rid of the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Because Biden administration let in millions and millions of new illegals.
Right.
So we have a lot in the country, and we were seeing them, excuse me, everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in this little town, Groton,
right,
which is a town of 3,000 people in upstate New York.
Right.
They were everywhere.
Yeah. So, all right. Well,
interesting. Yeah. They got a ticket to ride. They brought them in, and they were trying to pump up the numbers so that they could get more representation in Congress.
Yeah.
That was the scam. Yeah. So we can go over that.
Well, okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Sure. Do you know about that?
What?
The reason that they let in all the illegals.
When?
The Biden administration. So they let in millions and millions. He opened the borders basically, and several million more than usual came. He said
he had a motive.
So the motive was they would get them in, and they would hand them, from what I understand, a lot of them got a debit card for like EBT and stuff.
Yeah.
And they got a plane ticket to certain cities. They would give them, they'd say, where do you want to go? Here's your cities. And the point was they could affect the census numbers in those places.
Right.
If these people claimed themselves in the census. So they were packing them into certain areas because with the population, you get more representation in Congress.
Okay.
And these would be Democrat representatives.
Right.
So they would basically own Congress forever.
Right. No, I've heard that. Yeah.
That's the whole goal. So Trump knows he's got to get these people out of here, or that's going to happen. It probably still will. They put a lot of people in here.
It would be great if we could have some fair elections. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've been a shit show.
Yeah. Right.
It's pretty contentious.
Yeah.
I hate what's going on in this country because I love so many people who now dislike me simply because I am a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
And of course, as a Trump supporter, I have to defend certain things. There's certain things I'll speak out about, though.
Well, you don't have to support. You don't have to defend him because you're a Trump supporter.
No, you're
defending him because you believe in him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why, I don't try to be tribal in that way or blindly follow.
Right.
Certainly, I don't worship anybody. It makes me laugh that people think this is a cult around Trump.
Yeah.
People are always busting Trump's balls. He's lost a lot of people over this.
I mean, okay, well, the cult may be a contingency of, lesser educated people,
right?
That
True.
I mean, he's voiced a lot of support for those kinds of people that have very little.
You make a good point,
and show that you can have a lot of power. But anyways,
it seems like you're making a good point that there's the thinking man's Trump supporter, and then there's the people who may not be as well educated, who are more susceptible to groupthink. It may not be able to.
It goes on both sides, though.
Yeah,
it's not just a Republican thing.
Yeah, it is. That's right. It is definitely both sides.
Yeah. So people can be gullible on both sides. Gullible. Is that the right?
I would say so, dude. Every once in a while, I catch myself, and I'll try to make sure I correct it because I get on Facebook all the time, and I get people fired up. I have a real knack for that. You've seen that.
Well, that was a good deep dive into politics. So we haven't really, done a lot.
Well, there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, there is.
I got to say, it's a crazy time.
Yeah.
So Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz may resign. There's a lot of rumors that he already stepped out of the race, which is a clear indication that he knows he's screwed.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's that whole thing with the fraud going on there in Minneapolis or in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And
around the country, apparently. So Trump said he's actually.
Typically, people don't step down. Especially if you're passionate. I mean, from what I understand, is that, I mean, he just ran for vice president.
He sure did.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And, the guy's like, what, in his late 60s, maybe?
Nobody ever heard of this guy, really. I mean, and he's so dislikable.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't hear JD Vance really much either.
I didn't either. And I don't trust JD Vance, quite frankly. I never have.
Well, he's a little young, but.
Well, and the people who put him in power, you have to look into that. Peter Thiel and these people who are.
He's a spokesman, I'll tell you that.
He's fantastic. He's very eloquent.
Yeah.
And he's very convincing.
Yeah. Eloquent or just smooth shooter.
I shouldn't say eloquent.
Yeah, no, he is.
He's a good salesman, though.
Yeah, he can talk his way out of a fucking, pile of shit.
Well, he's definitely tried to keep Trump's energy, whereas he'll swear on social media and he'll tell people to eat. He'll use cuss words. Now, this is a new thing in our lives. We have not been used to politicians using cuss words. And
I've heard a couple F-bombs, several
recently
from Trump. Like even in the at the White House.
Yeah.
At the when he's going out in the, what do they call it, the backyard or whatever.
Yeah, out in the Rose Garden or whatever. Well, one time they caught him on the golf course and they said, why are Israel and Palestine still fighting? He goes, because they've been fighting for so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And he walked away. I was like, holy shit, that's the first F-bomb I've ever heard.
Yeah, and it was just like casual, and then he's, But I don't know.
It's weird, though, to see this. So Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis, I can't remember his first name, but Fry, F-R-E-Y is his last name.
Sounds, He's pretty young. He's like 30.
He's a young-looking guy. Well, and he's a good salesman, too. And he said, fuck, so after Renee Good got shot, he got on a press conference, and he goes, ICE, get the fuck out of our city.
Yeah.
And it was... and he fired up a lot of people too. So this is going to radicalize people, and it's going to escalate.
I do. There's one thing I want to say about that, and that's you can have as a politician, and especially in an immediate situation where you have that much power as the mayor of the city that it's happening in, is that you can fire up a lot of people.
Yeah,
by what you say, and a lot of
looking to him.
So there's also that whole gullible thing, I guess you could say, people that are just going to listen to it and be like, oh, well, he's saying it, so I believe it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't have all the facts here. Yes, somebody got shot. And yes, if you agree with that side of the story, then it's very easy to get fired up, and become more enraged about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as Rahm Emanuel says, never let a good opportunity go to waste. You know what I mean? So that's what they do. So there's something called problem, reaction, solution. It's also known as the Hegelian dialectic, which comes from these writings by a guy named Hegel. Okay. And what it says is you create a problem, you get a reaction. So people are scared to shit or they're upset. Yeah. And then they look to the leader and say, what are you going to do about it? In which case you present your solution that was pre-planned.
Right.
So they do this a lot. That's what 9/11 is accused of being, is like a Hegelian dialectic. So it's the same every time. They have a response ready. So when they knew that eventually somebody was going to get killed by ICE.
They have a response, but they also have a responsibility.
They do. But what they really want is to radicalize people so that they can regain power. That's the name of the game. The Democrats want power back. Plain and simple.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Of course they do.
Like I said, I'm in the center, but I think it goes on both sides.
Yeah.
Power.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people.
This is not a right and left thing.
A lot of people want power. And, I think, it's a mistake. It was a mistake to have such a strong response right off the bat. Mm-hmm. It could be condemned.
Yeah.
But it can be also, done in a more responsible way where it doesn't necessarily fire up a bunch of people that are already pissed off.
Right. But that's unfortunately is the agenda in place. And they knew this was going to happen. So again, here comes the Hegelian dialectic. They fire up and rile up a bunch of people. They've literally told them, go out and cause a disturbance to ICE. These are civilians.
Yeah.
These are old people. It's ridiculous. These people they're sending. Renee Good's not a soldier. She's a lesbian, whatever.
Yeah.
She should have been chilling. She should have been gardening.
Mom of three that just dropped her kid off at school.
She should have been in the hot tub with her wife having a beer.
No, she had her car parked in the middle of the street sideways, honking nonstop for like 3-5 minutes. I mean, that was just at the beginning of the video.
So human beings who are going to get mad at you.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
Right. So that was part of the video, by the way, that happened before.
Yeah.
The one that you see plastered all over the news.
People think ICE agents are going to be screamed at and called the worst things possible and spit on and threatened and honked at and not be upset. These are human beings. They're going to get triggered. Okay, and bad things are going to happen. So
they are, but however, they're the ones with the gun. Whenever you have a gun,
it's incumbent upon them to not be tyrannical.
Yeah,
and that's hard to do. That's easier said than done. Once you have the gun, believe me.
And they're not everyone's made the same. People make mistakes, and however, in this situation, it's a hot political topic, and one agent making a mistake. I'm not saying that it shouldn't have happened. Yeah. Period. But
it shouldn't have. Now, I'll tell you a story about a guy I knew once. Yeah. Okay. Just so that people understand how easily you can get shot if you go to cop with a truck. This guy had a truck. He had an ex-wife that fought a lot with him.
Yeah.
At one point, he ended up at her house drunk. This is years after they're divorced and they're arguing. And she calls the cops. So the sheriff and the local police show up here in Groton. And he comes out of the house. He's drunk and he's irate. And he jumped in his truck, even though they had their cars there with guns pulled. And he tried to run them over. He tried to run at the cops, and they unloaded their clips. Now, they didn't hit him, and they blew out the tires in his truck. He hauled ass all the way up to West Groton, up the hill, got away from the cops. My friend Chris, this was his father. He's passed away. He freaking said all of a sudden the truck came ripping in the driveway one night with no tires on the rims and just ran straight to the backyard. And he's watching out the window, and his dad just jumped out and ran in the woods. And he was on the lam for like 3 months out there living in the woods.
Wow.
Yeah, before he turned himself in. The point, though, is that if you run your vehicle at the cops, they are trained to shoot you. It's a deadly weapon. And and if they're angry at you already, they're probably going to.
Right.
So terrible idea to fool around like that.
Sit here and just go in circles on it, man.
Well, people just need to, I understand the reaction and they're being radicalized, and maybe they're right, but this needs to be handled differently by the leadership, because that's, at the end of the day, which I hate that term, that's who's responsible for radicalizing people is leadership.
Yeah, no. It's happened on both sides.
It is.
And that's why we're here as Attic Frog.
And we're here as Attic Frogs to be objective the best we can. Now, in my personal life, I'll get triggered like anybody. And in the morning especially, I'm a little shitty, and I'll get on Facebook and I'll say something that I know is going to piss people off, but it's how I feel, and I feel like it's the truth. Yeah. And I'm an authentic guy. I would rather piss people off with the truth than pretend that I know
it's going to piss them off, but you're not doing it.
I'm not doing it to piss them off, but I have to speak my truth.
Yeah.
And if that comes at a cost, that's fine. I'm willing to take it. I've been doing it for years. I'm like a prize fighter. That's great. Shit. That's why I'm ready for this, because I'm sure I'll get hate if people see this and they don't like what I say. And eventually I'm probably going to be triggered. And
I know I'm going to get it too.
Yeah.
Because my whole wing of the
have a left wing presence up there on the land trust, which I met a lot of people.
Not just on the land trust, but just in general. But
nonetheless, I met a lot of people at the land trust, in left or right. I thought they were wonderful people. I had a great time up at the park. We went to a solstice party that your family's
that was great. I'm so glad you guys got it.
Me too, man. Yeah.
It's that's the whole reason why we enjoy doing this, is because we're able to talk about everything, man.
Totally.
And
if people talk in person, they get along.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you think?
So imagine that.
Yeah, and when I see people in public, even though I'm arguing on Facebook, when I see them, I'm always happy to see people, because I just love people, and it's fun to see. It sucks when you argue, but usually when I see somebody in public that I know, I want to talk to them and just have a nice conversation.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about that we were pissed at each other.
It does matter how you what volume, what tone, what content you bring to the table.
Yeah.
Well, content's one thing, but the volume and the tone and the way you deliver it, and whether you're open to listening to something else, makes a big difference. Yeah. That's the difference between those situations. Like in Minneapolis, I feel like. Yeah. It's like
Totally. Yeah. It's interesting, because if I say something controversial, I don't say it and run. Now, people react, and I try to have a debate with them and keep it polite. I get threatened that people want to fight me. I just had a guy in Australia. I've been Facebook friends with this guy for 15 years. I don't even know how I got to be friends with him. And he used to be in a punk band or something. Yeah. So Yeah, we used to talk because he's like in an adult Ghostbuster fan club and shit. So he's a cool guy. But
yeah,
I said something to
he's a cool guy.
He gave me some shit on a post recently, and I said I was pointing out that the Australians are neutered because they gave up their guns, and now they're totally at the mercy of the government, which is the truth. I was mad. He was a dick to me first, and then he wanted to fight me. He goes, "When I get to America, let's knuckle up." I said, "I'm in New York."
As long as they're going to never need their guns, they're going to be fine.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I hope if he comes over and he wants to fight, we'll fight it out, and then we'll have a.
Where should we should meet in the middle? Probably. Yeah. New Zealand, maybe, or.
Yeah, I prefer not to fight because I'm 48. You know, you can. I keep in shape, but I'm not out there trying to fight, man. I want to keep what teeth I've got.
VR style or something.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a VR fight. That's a good idea. Right. Well, if it comes down to the come down, just get a mouth guard and take your licks. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I know how to fight a little bit, but I'm not trying to fight people. I'm too old for that shit.
No, I mean, it's like it goes back to that guy in Minneapolis, the Zach. What was his name? Zach.
Yeah, Zach X. He's too old for this shit, but he's going out there.
I mean, he should know what he's getting. He knew what he's getting himself into.
He did. He was picking fights.
It'd be the same thing as going, in the opposite direction, right?
Yeah, I'm sure if I was a younger man without a family,
you got to have some balls to do that, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he doesn't have kids or anything. I got kids. I got a family. I got a business. You know, he's got a cat. Right. I looked into this guy. All he has is a cat, and the guy gets pissed off and goes out and fucks with people protesting. So eventually,
because you know what the outcome's going to be, and you don't want to necessarily come back all bloodied up and bruised up and be like, oh yeah, no, I was just I don't know. But,
well, funny enough, with mass formation psychosis, the only cure to it, because it's such strong mind control, is people speaking the truth. So if people are in a cult, for instance, and you're trying to get them out of the cult, if you get them away from the cult influence and you speak truth to them, eventually their rational mind will lose the programming and something will break. It's like that concrete picture with a crack and a little daisy coming up eventually. And that's kind of my goal. By speaking out like this, I'm hoping at least one person, and I'll be honest, it's never happened. It probably never will. But I'm hoping to get one person to start thinking critically.
Yeah.
If they're not already thinking critically. And I can tell that they're not, some of these people, but it's always fun. It surprises me to see who gets mad and comes on and says stuff. So,
right.
You know,
I'm going off on a tangent now.
That's fine.
We'll go into some art stuff, but the graffiti guy that does like the Banksy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you said the daisy coming up from the sidewalk.
Totally.
Yeah.
Did he do one of those?
I feel like he has.
I feel like you're right.
Like there'd be a crack going up to a wall. Right. And he would draw a nice little daisy coming up.
Have you ever seen that?
Some of his stuff is just brilliant.
Yeah. Did you see what he did in that art show when they were trying to sell one of his paintings?
Oh yeah.
Where he shredded it.
Yeah,
that was the coolest thing ever. And then the value went up like $10 million.
It was in a frame that he put the thing in a frame.
Yep.
That it was delivered to the art auction, the art house.
Yeah.
And then
and he had given explicit instructions. This is not to be sold. At auction.
Oh.
So he built in the shredder, and he knew they were going to sell it at auction because these people are greedy. And plus, the fine art world is all about laundering money, but that's another story.
So he must have had somebody in obviously there.
Yes.
With a little button in their pocket.
It's probably him.
It could have. Oh yeah. Because
Now, there's a lot of speculation about who he is. And people used to think it was this guy named Goldie, who's the lead of Massive Attack. I don't know if you know that group, but they're kind of like a electronic weird. I don't even know how to classify him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was him, but there was this fantastic documentary back in the day called Exit Through the Gift Shop. Have you seen this?
Seen it.
Free on YouTube.
It's great.
Anybody who hasn't seen this, check this thing out with Mr.
I think my dad showed me that the first time I ever saw it.
Yeah. So it's this weird dude who was documenting graffiti guys, and he changed his name to Mr. Brainwash. And he ended up he met Banksy, and then he started making his own art, and he put on this weird. He got crazy. It's the craziest shit ever. He ended up making a few $million with this art.
He's been in a couple actual documentaries where he's blacked out, right?
Banksy.
Yeah. Isn't there a couple?
I'm sure that, yes, there is.
I think I've seen, I think, and I assume it's him.
Very rare.
Like his voice is modified.
It may not
you can't
be him.
see him. Right.
Yeah.
Because he would have to then arrive for the interview for the documentary.
It's really
somebody's going to know what he is.
It's really hard to keep your identity, right? How does he keep it up all this time?
Yeah. It's like, isn't there a couple bands that do? Or is it one?
Yeah, there's Slipknot. No. Oh, Daft Punk. Yeah.
Do they? Is that?
They have the helmets, but I don't know if they didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, they might not be quite as deliberate about hiding their identity.
Yeah.
Like Banksy should do that because he's a graffiti artist.
Yeah,
and it makes sense. Like,
yeah,
he needs constantly. Like, but some of the most amazing artwork that I've seen, like just the conceptual stuff is just out of this world.
He never misses.
Yeah,
it's always great.
Now I feel like I should have had a bunch of his work.
Well, we can always edit it in and post. We can throw some overlays on.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to do that.
Nowadays, if he does something on the side of a brick wall, they'll actually take that brick wall out and save it because it's worth millions of dollars.
Right.
I would.
Yeah.
Plus, you have an original Banksy on a brick wall in your mansion. That would be sick,
dude. It's like my chunk of the Woodstock '99 wall that I broke off.
You got a chunk of the Woodstock '99?
Yeah. Cool. And then I put it in my window.
Did you go to Woodstock '99? That was the one in Rome?
Oh, yeah.
I went there too.
You did?
Yeah. Tell me how you ended up there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't.
How you didn't know?
I don't know.
Anyways, yeah. So you know all about it. You know how.
So how long were you there?
I was there Friday afternoon until Monday morning.
So you went through the whole shebang.
So I was staying off site though.
Okay.
Right. So we were down. My godmother, who's an artist.
Yeah.
She had a whole bunch of her artwork, and she was selling
Sounds
it.
like a great lady, by the way.
Yeah. You got to meet her. You got to meet her. But anyways, and she's connected with the Phrogs.
Totally. She's part of it.
Attic Phrogs.
She's part of it.
So anyways, she was in a little sales area off site.
Okay.
Where I had my tent there, like behind her booth.
Nice.
But I spent most of my time up at the grounds.
Yeah, totally.
And it was, it was awesome. I had a blast.
Oh, me too.
So I was 15. My parents weren't going to let me go unless I went with her.
Cool.
Right. There's no way I would have been there if I didn't go with Diana.
Did you trip out or anything while you were there?
No. So I didn't.
Okay.
I smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well,
had a great time.
I was living in Utica at the time, and I was going to the art school there, which was called Munson Williams Proctor. Eventually you
were right there.
Yeah. Eventually became part of Pratt Institute from Brooklyn. But long story short, I had this girlfriend at the time that we were sitting there. We were about to go to work at a restaurant called Babe's Macaroni Grill where I met her.
Yeah.
Long story there. I'll tell. That's on relationship night. We'll talk about that. Nonetheless,
we still got to do that one.
We're sitting there watching MTV before work one day, and we're watching live from like 20 minutes down the road, this Woodstock. I'm like, how are we not there? We're calling into work. I don't care if we get fired. So we both call in, and we get in the car, and we just drive there. And they had ticket scalpers selling tickets on there. So we get in there. We stopped and got a bunch of jugs of water, and we bought like a 2-man tent, just some cheap shit. Yeah. So I was carrying a cooler with our own water. We walked around. It was this huge crowd. It was like a sea of people, wasn't it? You would never see the same person twice.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was about a mile long.
Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
200,000 to 300,000 probably.
Yeah, I would say that's quick.
Somewhere around there.
You would, if you lost somebody, you'd never find them. Yeah. It was crazy. And there was always people going from one stage to the other. So it was like this mesh of people.
Yeah.
But I just remember I got ripped off for psychedelics like 5 times. I bought liquid acid. I bought mushrooms, all bunk. Yeah. And you'd never see the guy. I wanted to punch someone in the face. Talk about wanting to fight.
Yeah, good luck.
I never see him again. So they knew they were ripping people off like crazy in there. So eventually we get frustrated and we walk back to the campsite. Now we got there late, so we're way off in the edges,
Yeah.
So we get back there and this conversion van pulls up from Ohio, and there's these 4 young guys in it. We meet them and they're kind of hippy dippy and sit down. And he ended up selling us some acid.
Right.
So it was really good acid, luckily. But I just remember tripping my ass off and watching Fatboy Slim in the hangar.
Oh, good. So you did find some.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really good too. Right. But then it was crazy because there was a rumor that spread around Woodstock that these people had murdered these old people, robbed them, and stole their van to come to Woodstock, and that they were there was like an APB. And here's these 4 guys from Ohio in a conversion van on the outskirts getting there late. I was like, whoa, that could have been them, but hopefully not.
Yeah.
But there was crazy stuff that went on there. I really felt
it was a giant party. I mean, let's be honest. There was no like connection to the earlier Woodstock. The original, even the 94 one was still, it was like, that was just like one step closer to the 99.
Right.
99 was just like, it was more of like
it was a metal
fest. MTV party, and it was like frat boys, and
it was Rage Against the Machine.
There was good bands. There was definitely some good bands, but there wasn't a message that everybody was fighting for.
No, there was no peace and harmony.
Yeah, it was just like, let's party. It's 1990. Let's party like it's 1999.
Yes. And unfortunately, it was like 98 degrees and there was no shade. The girl I was with ended up getting heat stroke, and the people were hiding underneath whatever like tractor trailers they could find or something because they were. And so There was no water. They were selling water for $4 a bottle when we got there.
They got up to like $10.
Got up to 12, yeah.
12, yeah.
And people rioted eventually.
This is 99, like
this
$10 bottle of water.
I brought enough water. We didn't need to buy any, thank God.
That would be like a $50 bottle today.
No doubt.
I want to say.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. Yeah. So people were mad, and I see why it went south. But I just remember it was so weird that the next day, so I tripped, and then the next day you wake up and it's just a sea of garbage everywhere.
Yeah, it was pretty disgusting.
Ground.
It was pretty disgusting.
There was a drum circle that had like 300 people just tripping out of their minds on a drum circle. So you watch that, and I'm just walking along, and there's like some stragglers passed out here and there. Most people are at the camps.
Yeah.
This is as the sun's coming up, and I've been tripping all night. And then I see this old man stand up, and he's wearing white women's lingerie. And he's probably 80 years old. He was old as shit, wrinkly. And he had like braids with little girl charms. And he had lipstick smeared. It was the creepiest looking dude.
Pretty...
And he just smiled at us, you know. He was probably on some shit too. And I was like, okay, we're going home.
Yeah.
And so we got out before the...
It was on Sunday?
Yeah, it must have been Sunday morning because we got out right before the riots.
Okay.
I was like, that's Satan. And he's just looking with glee at his creation. I was like, and I really felt like there was a dark energy there. And it turns out some really freaking weird stuff happened. Did you hear about the gang rapes and stuff?
Yeah, there was
rapes.
I mean, there was some bad stuff. And I'm glad I'm glad that I was young enough and I was just smoking weed. Yeah. And I guess I'm glad that I was off site because I had a great time. I had my buddy come up. I
don't want to ruin it for you. You know, my dark vision. No. I have a weird perspective.
I've heard all the. I know about all this stuff. There.
Like
in hindsight now, you know, but
pretty creepy.
But it's another example of if you keep a good mindset and you stick around, you know, I guess the right people,
right,
or at least it wasn't like I was just like stoned and like just.
It felt like a weird
strolling around. Like I was checking everything out and
15
running into cool people.
Yeah,
I got there. I saw George Clinton the first night.
Yeah.
I walk up. That's the first thing I see.
He funked. That would be awesome.
Yeah, dude.
That shit rocks.
Saw a whole bunch of amazing bands there. It was great. The Seven Dust show. Everybody's throwing water bottles.
Yeah, I was there for the water bottles.
Occasionally like a full water bottle coming through past your head.
They were flying by the hundreds, man.
Yeah, oh yeah.
During Metallica, it was crazy because there was all these water bottles flying, and you're just watching, and it's dark, and all of a sudden you hear them start playing the song One.
Yeah.
It's like,
I love
people
that
went
band,
crazy.
They were good.
Oh, so awesome. Well, anyways, great time for a little while, but it went south quick. So we'll see if they ever do that again.
No, they won't. They're not going to do it again.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should throw the next one in Greenland. And we'll Woodstock 28 will be in Greenland.
Then some chill people will come because you're gonna be dressing up in fucking snow gear.
Yeah, hopefully it's not a big Trump rally. It'll be it'll be like Kid Rock and
Trump will open it up for everybody. I don't know what bands are going to play to that.
That would be cool if you got like the bands that support Trump. You get Nugent, Kid Rock, there
would be a lot.
Then you get Jack White and the other side. You could have the same setup as you just have a stage and then you just have a big battle to the death at the end. It would be like epic. Yeah. Well, hopefully not. Let's not go there. So anyway, Silas, I think where are we at for an hour? Did we do another hour on the dot?
52 minutes.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to put these out. Everybody look for a few episodes coming up because we finally got our logo nailed down and we got an intro. So this is going to be like a professional deal looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah. No, we're going to, definitely.
Yeah, man. You put in a ton of work editing. This takes a lot of work. People, this came out of the clear blue. This literally arrived because I felt like God wanted us to have a podcast, which is maybe slightly
we didn't even talk about ourselves or about this at all. This round, but
we should do a little, but the main thing is that we talk about things that people want to hear, the little bits of our personalities and stuff will come out, but there were some cool things that led to this, like the 5-leaf clover.
There was a lot of cool stuff that led to this, and I mean, it even goes back to, mutual friends.
Totally.
And your good friend that passed away.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, there's all these cool connections that has brought this from an idea into like a real podcast where we've got, equipment. We got 3 cameras.
Yeah, if it wasn't for, I'll throw a name out there, but if it wasn't for Adam Scott, we wouldn't be doing this right now.
Yeah, God rest Adam Scott. Yeah. And he's still with me, man. So I feel like dead relatives and friends around me all the time.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you ever feel like a dead relative or somebody who's passed that was close to you?
Yeah.
Like if they come to your mind sometimes out of the blue, I feel like that's kind of like a message.
Well, I live in right now I'm living in a home it wasn't the original home that was there,
Mm.
but it was my grandma's property.
Mm-hmm.
And I've now kind of, I've been living there for a few years now.
Yeah, it's a sweet lake house.
So the house has been rebuilt. I feel like, we kind of eliminated a lot of that energy by taking down the old house and putting up a new one.
Yeah.
Right. But the house is still full of all of her stuff.
Interesting.
And so there's a lot of connection there.
Do you feel like she like looks out for you? Do you believe in that stuff?
Absolutely.
I do too, man. Yeah. I feel like my grandma's there. Like when my grandma died, I spoke at her funeral, and I swear to God, she was there, man.
Yeah.
Like you can really feel it. I think if you're open to that kind of thing. Some people don't believe in it, but
and so Adam's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And,
Adam is a huge part of it.
Katie Scott. I mean,
his wife is his widow.
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so we have connections there, and
absolutely, that's a mutual friend of ours. That
she's a beautiful person, and and the artwork on the back wall is
that's how we got to know each other, because
in memorandum. Yeah,
that's right. She does a golf tournament because he worked in HVAC, and every year we have a golf tournament to raise money. And if somebody's furnace breaks and they can't afford it, this company Halco, which took really good care of my friends, so I've got to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
They help pay for the furnace as well. Right. So really great. And I would draw a picture. Adam was always my friend that would give me the most shit because I could always draw. And everybody thought I should be a tattoo artist or something, but I just didn't love drawing like that. So I didn't, I've made plenty of money with art in my life, but not so much from tattoos and drawing.
Well, it's crazy how the world works,
Yeah, but you're a graphic designer for Syracuse.
Yeah.
You were able to collaborate to make like the files, and we've become friends. And it's cool that we're here now doing this podcast for, what is this, like the 10th time we've tried one?
Oh, man. We've been working on it, a couple months.
Yeah.
But now we've actually got it. Now we know how to do it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it flows pretty good. We're pretty natural at it. It's kind of like, and I really enjoy it. It's like a creative.
Every episode's different.
It is.
But,
it's a way to explore ideas, and have like a long form. Because a lot of times, like for me, like I talk to people I know who will see this, and I may put an idea out, but I don't have time to explain myself.
Yeah.
I think that's a real benefit of something like this.
Yeah. So, well, and also, being able to just go with the flow.
Yeah, totally. See what comes out.
Yeah.
Get some ideas flowing.
It's healthy. I like it. I really enjoy it, man.
Yeah, me too, bro.
Yeah, cheers.
Hey, another good one in the books. Thanks for watching, everybody. We're going to put this out, and hopefully you'll watch the next one too. We'll try to get them out like a couple a week if we can manage it. So yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, everybody. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
See you.
Peace.